Good morning. This lesson is for my Trig-Precalc class, but before I get started, I want to say I hope everyone is doing all right out there. Now, I believe this is Chapter 5, Lesson 6. I'm not quite sure. I'll title it correctly in the video title, but what I am sure of is our goal for the day. And our goal is going to be to rewrite the Pythagorean identity cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals to 1 in as many ways as possible. But before I start this lesson, I want to review a couple things with you guys. The first thing I want to review is what we call the difference of squares, which is a squared minus b squared. This factors to conjugates, and it would be a plus b times a minus b. All right, so that's a tool we'll be using when we rewrite this Pythagorean identity. Another tool that we need is solving equations with a square. So if a squared is equal to b, then we square root both sides. The square root and the square cancel each other out. And on the other side, I'm left with plus or minus the square root of b. These are tools that we're going to need. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our Pythagorean identity. The first thing I can do to rewrite this would be I can subtract sine squared theta to both sides. I am now left with cosine squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. Now this might not look like I have this, but I do in fact have that because 1 is the same as 1 squared. So I do have the difference of squares. So this is one way that I can rewrite my Pythagorean identity. I now have two options to rewrite my Pythagorean identity. I can write it as a conjugate, or I can square root both sides. Or I can square root both sides as a conjugate. So there's actually three avenues I have. So let's go down the conjugate avenue. All right, so there's my difference of squares. So the second way that I can rewrite my Pythagorean identity would be cosine squared of theta is equal to 1 plus sine of theta times 1 minus sine of theta. That would be another way that I could rewrite it. Another way still is I can take this and I can write it like this. I can square root both sides. Now, this square will cancel that square root. On the right side, we don't know. So we can't take it out. So I will be left with cosine squared theta. I'm sorry, cosine theta, got rid of the square, is equal to plus or minus 1 minus sine squared theta. 1 squared minus sine squared theta. So this is the third way that I can rewrite it. And the fourth way I can rewrite it is I can square, actually I can come from this. So what I can do is rewrite this as a conjugate, and this will be the fourth way. Or I could say cosine of theta is equal to plus or minus the square root. I have difference of squares under the radical, so it would be 1 plus sine of theta times 1 minus sine of theta. Okay, so I have four ways that I can rewrite my Pythagorean identity by using these two concepts. Now, I got these four from moving sine squared to the other side. I can also create 4 more by moving cosine squared to the other side. So again, if I have cosine squared of theta plus sine squared of theta, and that's equal to 1, which we'll call 1 squared, and I can now subtract cosine squared of theta to both sides, and I'm now left with sine squared of theta equals 1 squared minus cosine squared of theta. This would be the fifth way that I could rewrite my Pythagorean identity, and I can then do these concepts as well, which will be part of your homework assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and end the lesson here. Again, I hope this makes sense and everyone's doing all right out there. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.